It is really a pleasure. It is really a pleasure to have Dr. Tom Crow with us, former Chancellor. So welcome. And I have to tell you, people, I quote you once in a while, Tom, and people have told me that at a certain point in time, you said, you know, it's time for me to retire. And so I've done the same thing, and I'm following in your footsteps. But someone even told me that, now this may not be a compliment to you, but they said, you know what, Chancellor Parnell, you look a lot like Tom Crow. So that's a compliment for me, and I'm glad you're here with us. I see so many good friends. Dr. Pam Fobbs, what a great supporter, and worked in our personnel commission and on the foundation. Thank you, Pam, for being here. Scott Odell has done so much good work and up in Oakhurst and throughout our whole district in helping us. Every once in a while, I see Randy Rowe, and he's out here. And Randy, welcome, and thanks for joining us and all that you've done for this district over the years. And then, of course, Rochelle Noblet, just been so faithful and good, and all the rest of the board members. And I won't go through all your names, but I saw a few of you there. I just want to give you a very brief, because you've got some great presentations. You're going to see some things going on at Reedley and Madera with Dr. Buckley and Dr. Reyna that, as they say, will just knock your socks off. The things that we are doing for students in the middle of this pandemic is incredible. We have some great challenges. We've lost a lot of our students. We have students that are the most underprivileged, most challenged, and we are doing a whole lot to help them, but we literally have lost a lot of students. And that's one of our high priority right now. Both Dr. Reyna and Dr. Buckley and their great staff and faculty and administrators are working on how we can make things more fair, equity, and especially focused on race and our students that are challenged because they come from backgrounds that are challenging. And so that's your participation in these kinds of events. I hope it encourages you to help us reach out to all of the students in our community that can benefit from the great programs that we have. We're in the middle of a budget crisis and a budget cycle. It looks stable right now, and we should be healthy for this next year. Not wealthy, but healthy. As far as COVID goes, as you know, we declared the emergency situation last March, and we're still there. We're primarily working remotely, with the exception of a few courses that just have to be taught face-to-face, like our first responder courses. But we'll stay remote for now and for the summer. And then in the next few weeks, we're going to make some decisions about if we can phase in fall with more face-to-face classes. I do want to focus in on, and you'll hear a lot from Reedley and Madera, but I'd really like to focus in on some of the construction. You see behind me that we purchased this old, and it's a 100-year-old building, the Guaranteed Bank building, and we're in the process of, we've renovated several floors. We're going to be finishing the first floor, which will house our boardroom, and the 12th floor you see up in the top. And contrary to rumors that I've been spreading, it is not it's not a sports bar for the Chancellor. It is in fact going to be housing some of our staff that are out at Herndon right now. And anyway, it's just a beautiful old building, very interesting. We'll have all of our district office. I know I've told this story before, but it really is saving us $15 to $20 million by moving downtown, because it's freed up space, especially at Fresno City. We're building a parking lot there for 800 stalls plus, and we have parking downtown. I think the parking structure, I've been told, is probably worth as much as what we paid for the building. So that's an ongoing, and we're looking forward to moving everyone back in. It won't be fall before we probably move back in. People get vaccinated and so on. We traded for land. It didn't cost the district. Matter of fact, we made a little bit of money. We traded some land that we had in Southeast, and we now have 40 acres. We're building a police and fire first responders academy. We're in the process of building up at Oakhurst, and I know Scott knows that 30 acres. We were so fortunate to get that. It was a great community effort, and that one is underway, and we're working with state architects as well as our academic village at Madera. You're going to see our new manufacturing building, which was the first building we completed under Measure C. We're working on our new building, career tech building, and supporting students out at Clovis. And then we have the West Fresno project, which we've combined with Transformative Climate. We went from $10 million, and now we have an over $85 million project out in West Fresno that is going to transform a long neglected area of our Fresno area. When we look at Reedley College, I'm so excited about, I know Dr. Buckley will share with you, but a college that's over 90 years old and that has not had a Center for Fine and Performing Arts, that is going to be a jewel of that area, as well as the new science building, which is going to be completed this next year, and children's centers there and children's center at Fresno City. So I can't thank you. I know a lot of you went out and canvassed for us and helped, but when I got here in 2016 and we passed that Measure C, this is the result of that, and you're seeing that, and it's all focused on helping our students achieve immeasurable goals for them to change their lives and their families' lives, and that's our focus. Our focus is on students. All of our colleges are engaged in the significant framework change. We've always been focused on students, but now we're doing it in a more coordinated way called guided pathways. And that's just a quick summary. The work that everyone's done, our faculty, staff, is just incredible. I'm so proud of them. And I'm proud of you and the foundation, because when I got here, we had about $13 million in the foundation. We have about $21 million now. It's going towards students. I'd like to have twice that much, so I don't want anyone to let off. We need to keep pressing forward, but we've got so many students that need help. So let's keep working on all of that together. And thank you for joining us. And Rico, give me a chance to greet all of our great Chancellor's Circle supporters.
Thank you, Dr. Parnell, for that. Yeah, I just want to thank you, all the Chancellor's Circle members who are here today and guests who've joined us. This is an opportunity for us to, usually, if you've been with us before, we're in person at the school, at the colleges, and you're able to meet faculty in person. So, but everything has changed since last year. So I appreciate you logging in and seeing and hearing about what we're working on, what the colleges are doing. Hearing from today, you'll hear from President Jerry Buckley from Reedley College, who will talk about the state of the college, what's going on, and sharing more details that are happening. And there's a lot of great stuff happening at Reedley College. Followed by with Dr. Angel Reyna at Madera Community College, the newest community college in the state, and he'll share what's happening at Madera, along with, you'll hear from a student who's on, Brenna Kovacevic. Is that correct, Brenna? Just nod if that was yes. Kovacevic, perfect. From Brenna Kovacevic will speak, and then we'll also have a couple of faculty members who will share about the programs going on at Reedley. So we're really excited for you to hear that, and hopefully you'll learn something new today about our colleges. And then, to prepare for the future, in April, we will have our second virtual event, our Chancellor Circle. And so we're combining Fresno City College and Clovis Community College. So we'll do a similar event like this. So I hope you will join us. Again, it's April 22nd at 11:30 a.m., same time, same channel, and we'll send you out an invite. And so we thank you for being here, for supporting the foundation, because I think that's why we're all here, is looking at how do we support the foundation that in turn supports students. Students are really the focus of our energy, of trying to find the means and the resources for them to get through through their college degree, and to move on to a career, a job, something that will help support their family, and they're a vital part of this economy. And so we are really glad you are here today. And if you're joining us and you're not a Chancellor Circle member and you're a guest of someone, we encourage you to join us as a Chancellor Circle member. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can type it in the chat, give us your information. you could send an email to either Kelly Joes, who's the assistant director, who handles Chancellor Circle, or myself. We would love to involve you to be able to be a part of these ongoing behind the scenes look at our colleges, and how we're working with students, how we're working in the community, because I think that's really what we're trying to provide to you is that view of how we are impacting this region. With over 60,000 students, we have a lot of impact, and we touch a lot of lives. So we want to be able to share that with you as a Chancellor Circle member. So we thank you again for being here. And now I'm not going to spend my whole time talking, because I think there's some good program ahead. So I'd now like to introduce our first speaker from Reedley College, Dr. President Jerry Buckley.
Thank you, Rico, and welcome everyone to this morning's Chancellor Circle event. As mentioned, I'm Jerry Buckley, president at Reedley College. Very proud to be here. I'm sure most of you realize that the State Center District is the size of Delaware, and with something that large, each of our colleges and educational centers actually have a character and a history all their own. So my objective today is to share with you a little bit about the history and significance of Reedley. Many of you already know, but really update that with some current information. And not to correct our chancellor, but guess what? This year, we're entering our 95th year as a college. So that's special. I'd like to share with you today a couple of videos and a testimonial from one of our students that has received financial aid. But in particular, I'd also like to show you some of the unique features of Reedley, as I mentioned a moment ago, and really highlight one of our signature programs. We're going to start today by sharing a video with you that we actually used to open our spring 2021 semester. And it's going to highlight the long history Reedley has had in connecting with each of our students and engaging with them to help them reach their educational goals. Phil, can you run that first video, please?
Reedley College is a very special place. I think those that really kind of come here and open their hearts and their minds into accepting our environment, our beautiful campus, and the colleagues that we work with. If you're here to, for the long term and you establish those friendships, it's a place that you'll be for a long time. For myself, I came, never left. I've been here for a while, and it's been a second family to me, so I've been very grateful and appreciative of it.
Reedley College does feel like a family. I have thought that for many, many years, and I get treated as such. And there are many, many great staff and faculty that work here and who are caring and who really want success for our students. There has not been a day that I have not wanted to come to work to be here at Reedley College, and I think that says a lot about this place.
Working in student activities, I get to interact with students a lot more than other people on campus, which gives me an opportunity to really get to know them and build relationships with them, and they'll share their successes and their struggles, which helps me to better understand them and other students so that I can be a better support for them during their time on campus. And I know that I'm not the only one. There are a lot of us on campus that feel the same way, and that's just what makes Reedley College special, is that we're all a big family and we want our students to succeed.
We're literally a whole nother community within a community. We get the kids that come for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We get to know them. When they graduate, it's a celebration for all of us because all of us took part in it. We are a smaller campus, but I think we handle our population well. I think as far as staffing goes, we can get overwhelmed just as much as the next campus can, but a lot of it is we work together as a team.
This is my happy place. I love, matter of fact, I get away from home to come to work. I really like it here. Like I say, in 27 years, I've never woke up and said, I don't want to come to work. The students are real hands-on. I mean, they're just nice, real nice. We haven't had any problems with anybody. And the staff is just extra great. Our boss is even better.
It's definitely a family atmosphere. And it's definitely about people coming together. I think the way that the campus is set up and the nature of the campus and even the community as a whole, it all kind of bleeds into campus. You know, we're a small town, and majority of the people that work here are from the area. Everybody cares about each other. We have genuine compassion for each other, empathy for each other. When you know that you can come into a place and work with people that care about you, that care about your well-being, that care about your family, and that care about the community, then it just makes it that much easier for you to allow the students to feel that when you're serving them.
Thanks, Phil. I think that gives you a snapshot really of the way in which Reedley operates. And I'd just like to point out that, you know, Reedley is what I like to refer to a rural facing college. We serve roughly 13,000 students a year. And many of those students are what we traditionally used to refer to as challenged or underprivileged. I think another way to look at that, and maybe the more modern terminology, is those students have opportunities. And those opportunities have to be met with a staff and a faculty that understand where our students come from and help build that special bond to keep them engaged, to help them attain that next step in their life, to be able to have an education and earn a living wage. And that's really our goal here. Our second film is a very short piece that's an extract from work that we've done with ABC 30 to highlight our agriculture and natural resources program. You're going to hear today from one of our lead instructors that you may know, Dr. Tim Smith.
Here at Reedley College, students are beginning their journey into the sustainable use of water, and they're learning from some of the best.
I've been here 24 years. I have a bachelor's out of Cal Poly in soils, a master's out of Fresno State in plant science, and a PhD out of Davis in soils and biogeochemistry.
Tim Smith is the plant and soil science instructor at Reedley College. As a farmer himself, he knows a thing or two about irrigating crops.
But it's like one of these deals where it's a set of combination disciplines. There's a physical aspect, there's a chemical, and there's a biological. It's not just running water from one side to the other. There's a method to the madness, right? He'll do the amount of seconds it takes to fill a gallon, then you'll measure the pressure. So you'll just work your way through there. One of the most important features of the class is teaching them how to determine when to irrigate and how much to apply. And that's not the most easiest set of factors that you would learn in any other program. They're fairly specific, but it's about teaching students how to, again, to do the amount of water that's necessary, no more, no less, and when to put it on, the timing aspect, so that we optimize for production. We want to produce in abundance and do it sustainably.
Valley Grown is sponsored by Reedley College and United Health Centers.
So that gives you a little insight into our Ag and Natural Resources program. By the way, in terms of our programming, I believe that Reedley College is only one of two colleges in California that offer a natural resources program. And we have people literally travel across the country to come here for various portions of that program. You got a chance to see Tim Smith, I think, in maybe a different light if you've ever been around the campus and met him. He's a very imposing individual, quite tall, very knowledgeable, as you can tell from that video. He also teaches at Fresno State and is a demonstration of how Reedley connects with our partner institutions in many different ways, and we'll talk a bit about that later. Phil, if you can bring up the slides now, I'd like to run through some additional information for you. Next slide. So as you've seen today, Reedley's, if you want to call it motto, is about celebrating our family, because we look at ourselves, whether it's the faculty in the classroom, the classified staff, all of us look out for students when they're here on campus and try and engage with them and provide that appropriate support that we've talked about this morning, all the way down to our volunteers. Next slide. We've had a pretty amazing year, as Dr. Parnell alluded to. This has been an interesting pandemic year in the sense that we've had so many challenges. But as we look back to the spring semester, the first semester that was under the pandemic, we still had a course retention of 90% then and 88% in the fall semester. So we're doing quite well in retaining students through to the end. We've had to emphasize things in different ways, as you're probably aware, as part of the foundation. We've had to put on far more drive-through food distributions. We've been the beneficiary of a lot of CARES dollars from the federal government that's helped us purchase additional technology and provide emergency funding to students. We've also become an on-campus COVID testing site for the community that we serve, and we hope to launch in February a vaccination site as well for the communities that we serve. Next slide. One of the things that we've done as a college is launch our first version of what's called guided pathways. To put it simply, we've looked back over the 95 years of the history of this college to see what we can do to simplify our processes and do away with various terminology that would be difficult for a first-time student to understand. Think back to your own college experience. How many different things did you encounter, like the word bursar for the first time, and you thought to yourself, what the heck is a bursar? So try to come up with terminology and processes that make sense to people when they come to us for the first time, whether they're an incoming high school student or an adult reentry student. We were also awarded a Title V technology grant this year that helps us reopen our relationship with the Dinuba Adult Education Center. We're going to be offering computer science and other types of short-term certificate programs there to help students basically get a foothold in a good paying career path. We're also part of the Drive initiative, the K-16 collaborative. Reedley is partnering with Fresno State specifically on engineering pathways as well as UC Merced. And the intent here is to work with our local high school districts to really capture more students into the STEM environment and specifically prepare them to become engineering students in various disciplines. And we are trying to create a seamless pathway where they can transition from high school to Reedley and other colleges, by the way, and on into Fresno State, with our goal being raising the numbers by about 500 students per year. It's a big target, big goal. You may wonder why I highlighted ag yet again. Well, I felt it was important because this year we again were ranked #1 in the state for having the #1 ag teaching program in all of California. We've also been working on a grant application with the Department of Labor to work on an ag technology curriculum to take our program into the next decade of technology. Next slide, please. You may be aware of the fact, especially from our video, that we successfully graduated our first 5 pilots from our flight science program. So we have our first flying tigers. We've also designed internally and launched an improved program review process that helps us with the distribution of resources to our various academic and non-academic programs. In terms of the holidays, we supported 15 local families through our adoptive family program. And on a community note, Reedley College won a most innovative float trophy in our reverse holiday parade, which meant all the floats were parked along the side of the street in downtown Reedley, and we allowed everybody to drive through. As my participation in the Reedley Rotary, I was there helping support not only the college, but the community that evening. It was a lot of fun. Next slide. One thing else that we're doing is reawakening our recognition programs. I gave out the first President's Leadership Award when we opened the spring semester. I recognized Kevin Scritchfield, who's worked at both Fresno City and Reedley over the past few years. We recognized him specifically because he jumped in as an instructional designer that really helped in a major way help our faculty convert from on-ground teaching to online teaching very successfully. And he served as a major support for those faculty that had less experience in that area. Next slide. Now I'd just like to recap very briefly our annual report. It describes our program services, student achievement in particular, and overall the contributions of our faculty, staff, and administration. Next slide. I think #1, the thing we'd like to celebrate is that under facilities, we've completed things such as our heavy truck expansion and our mechanical ag program. That's one of our most heavily attended programs. We're about to open, as was mentioned, our math and science building in summer of 2021. So we're all eagerly awaiting moving our health sciences and other science programs, as well as math, into that building, and addressing the secondary effects, which, by the way, involve creating an engineering classroom space that will help us with our K-16 partnership with Fresno State. We're also going to have a couple of groundbreaking events. As was mentioned, we're going to be groundbreaking for our Fine and Performing Arts Center in April, and then our Child Development Center later in the year. Next slide. Let's think also backwards a bit to the prior year, which is really what an annual report is supposed to do. If you think about fall of 2019, we actually were the American Division champions of our 2019 season, and we wanted to celebrate that. Also in women's golf, we achieved a regional championship and took second place in the state finals. Next slide. I think the really big thing to celebrate is the fact that in a pandemic year, Reedley College had the greatest number of awards ever. Nearly 2,600 certificates and degrees awarded to a number of students that also transferred, 1,241, as you can see from this slide. Next. I think the other thing to keep in mind, let me translate the acronyms here. Zero textbook cost degrees and open educational resources, which are really digital replacements for textbooks that have no cost. This fall alone, we served nearly 1,700 students and saved them nearly $170,000. But since the inception of the OER program, we basically have served nearly 14,000 students and saved nearly $1.4 million. You may be aware of the fact that the greatest barrier to student success is usually the cost of textbooks. So this is a huge program for us. Next slide. And by the way, between the textbook savings and the work that you do as a foundation, I'd like you to just look at a diagram that was created by the Research and Planning Group for the California Community Colleges that talks about, if you look at this pyramid, basic needs are so critical during this pandemic to our students. The financial support that we provide for housing and food, in addition to their fees and covering the cost of going to school, all of that really gets them in the door. But look at the top of the pyramid and reflect back to how I opened my presentation. They need, at this point, compassion and flexibility from those they work with in a higher education setting. And that's what Reedley College is trying to do right now. It's really meet this basic pyramid of needs that our students come to us with. Next slide. And you have helped do that. If you take a look here at the comparison of the 2019-20 school year from our annual report, and then the current academic year of 2020-2021, you can see the difference in the number of students served, about the same, but look at the number of scholarships and the amount of money awarded. That $105,000 from the fall semester is going much farther right now because of the pandemic. Remember also, we raised over $15,000 to help support our Tiger Pantry and what we call our Clyde's Closet that helps meet those basic needs as well for our students. So thank you for the work that you've done in this area, because it helps our students remain focused on their higher education goals. As you can see, our plan right now is to continue working on how we're going to return to campus. It's going to require a lot of efforts in the areas of marketing, communication, looking at our student housing availability. We're also trying to plan out our commencement as well as our athletic programming. And oh, by the way, we are starting to plan for that 95th anniversary of being a college campus. Now I'd like to turn to our last video, a young lady by the name of Brianna Tirado, who is a recipient of our financial aid program. And I'd like to see the impact that you've had with those dollars.
Give me just, Dr. Buckley.
Sure. I think Brianna is representative of a significant number of our students. If you looked at that pyramid, you saw how many students really have an incredible need for the basic needs of just surviving these days. As we're aware, the pandemic has had a terrible impact on families in general, with job loss. The jobless rate is about 10% in the greater Fresno area right now. So that has obviously cascaded down to affect our students that in many cases are sole providers for families in addition to being students.
The CARES funding has helped me throughout this pandemic because it has relieved a lot of stress during, not stress, but like a lot of overwhelming situations, I say, for myself.
And let's say you didn't have the CARES funding, would you take less units just because
Yes.
of the money, or?
I would certainly be taking less. It will be more stress on me, and I will be able to have to pick up like 2 extra jobs since currently I'm working on 1, and I could barely manage it, but I can manage it. But I know with 2 I'll be overwhelmed, and it'll definitely lead to like me dropping out if I didn't have this. But with this, it really does help. It's very beneficial, and I would definitely recommend it to others.
So the takeaway from this is that CARES funding, in addition to our scholarships and other means of support for students, help them work less outside their college programs and stay engaged and hopefully finish. And as we've seen, we had a major impact last spring because we did reach, as I mentioned, our highest level of awards ever. So thank you for your generosity. Thank you for what you do as a foundation and helping support our students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Buckley, for that. Very informational. Really appreciate it. I think even working in the district for 5 years, there are always things that I also learn in these presentations. So I appreciate that. So now I'd like to bring to the screen Dr. Angel Reyna, the president of Madera Community College.
Thank you, Rico, for the introduction, and thank you all Chancellor Circle members. I just want to echo Dr. Buckley's sentiment that we're very appreciative of the fact that you're here and you're supporting our students. That's the reason why we're here. We know we have a lot of students that are challenged, but as Dr. Buckley mentioned, there's a great opportunity. And the more that we can help internally as an institution, but also externally to have supporters like yourself to help us by bettering students' lives, we better our community. So thank you so much for that. I'll try to be efficient in my words because I know I want to be mindful of the time. But as you know, and to piggyback off of Dr. Buckley, they're entering their 95th year. We're in the process of our first year. So having said that, there's a lot of maturity that's taking place as an institution. We became the 116th community college on July 20th, 2020. So we're not a year yet. There's a lot of positions that we're working to fill. We just hired our director of marketing communications, which, as you all know, given the COVID reality, is an essential position for us, not only to communicate to our faculty and staff, but more importantly to our students and community. So as we continue to navigate COVID, our maturity as an institution and staffing, et cetera, and reaching out to students is very significant. I'd also like to say that us becoming a college was a collective and collaborative effort with faculty, staff, students, and also from the community. Ever since I arrived here, May 20th, I sensed, of 2019, I sensed the pride in the community, their support in moving us to becoming the 116th community college. In the process to develop our mission, vision, and values, our community stepped up, came to campus, helped us complete that process, and we're in the strategic planning process. And last Friday, we had a lot of community support. So I just want to echo that piece, is that the community involvement and support in us becoming an institution and beyond has been very significant and important. And it also came to fruition in Giving Tuesday, our first ever Giving Tuesday. We met our goal over 25,000 to support our students. So I know that there's some people in the room that actually contributed to that. So thank you so much for that. As Dr. Buckley has shown as well, our students benefit in that same manner. Having said that, the significance of us becoming the newest community college in the state, but more importantly for Madera County, is that our educational attainment rate in Madera County is 55 out of 58 counties. So we know that we have a lot of work to do. And at the same time, not having a higher education institution in terms of an independent college in Madera County was significant, and us now being a college will definitely help. It'll do a few things. It'll help us to develop our infrastructure to better support our students and our community. we'll be able to offer athletics as well, which is a significant piece. And I know it's a sense of pride for our community. And then we'll also be able to have our own degrees that say Madera Community College on it. And I know that that matters to our community and to our students as well. The second piece that I want to mention, and Dr. Parnell touched on it a little bit, is we have 2 new projects that are coming our way. We have in Oakhurst, a $25 million project, 30 acres that were purchased there. And we're excited for the Oakhurst community because it'll be their first permanent structure that they'll have. And it's going to be definitely a sense of pride in terms of where its location and the services we're going to be able to provide for our students. So we're excited about that and thank everyone for their support on Measure C. Secondly, at Madera Community College, we have Academic Village 2 that's coming on board, and we're hoping to have that completed around fall of 2022. And with the Oakhurst campus, we're hoping that'll be completed early in 2023. So a lot of great work, a lot of maturation is taking place at Madera Community College, and deservedly so, not only with the staffing, but also the facilities. The other piece that I want to talk about just briefly is the COVID impact and what we've done, because people might be curious what's going on in the campus. We currently have close to 30 sections on campus that are face-to-face, anywhere from biology, plant science, and you'll hear from our colleagues here in a little bit. They're the ones that are holding some of that face-to-face instruction. Following the protocols, we've been working with Madera County Department of Public Health to make sure that we're following the protocols to keep everyone safe. And lastly, we've been doing food distributions, hotspot, laptop, checkout, et cetera. And we're also looking at providing student services this semester, which we've done with the approval of Madera County, because we know a lot of our students live in multi-generational homes. And that matters because one of our faculty members at the end of last fall told us, and during one of our college hours, that one of his students had to take his final exam in terms of communication in his car because he did not have a quiet space to be able to do his exam. So one of the things we're doing is we're opening up our computer labs by appointment only, socially distanced, et cetera, because we have a lot of students that are impacted, and that's the reality of our community and the students that we serve, but we want to be that beacon of hope and light to be able to help our students to be successful. And so that shows, and with the video that Dr. Buckley showed, the need that we have and the opportunity that we have to better serve our students. So I just want to end by saying thank you so much for your commitment to State Center Community College District, and specifically to Madera Community College. So at this point, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Sam Rodriguez, agribusiness instructor.
Thank you, Dr. Rena, on the introduction there. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about the ag program at Madera, one of the newest programs, and what we're doing to increase not only our offerings, but support to our students in the Madera area. So we just opened and completed construction of the Center for Ag and Technology, which has given us some really awesome flexibility to offer plant science courses, animal science and ag business courses in our facility there, and actually give us a showcase for the ag industry and our ag partners in the county. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. We're offering degrees right now in ag business with our Associate for Science Transfer degree and our Certificate of Achievement. Also plant science with the Associates for Transfer and Certificates of Achievement in different areas. We are introducing animal science and then ag mechanics with our new shop area as well. Next slide. So the goal for the ag program basically is threefold in terms of upskilling our labor force in Madera County to come back in and take some courses to upskill in their job to hopefully raise their pay or move up in their positions, to either enter the workforce after graduation and seek entry-level positions or mid-level positions. And finally, then to transfer on with their AST degree and transfer to either a CSU or UC. As you can see in the pictures here, we have students who are doing a little bit of all, a little bit of each. In the top left corner there, we have two students who came in to upskill. They came in from the county, the city of Madera there, and they came in and took a few ag business classes to help them learn some computer skills and some accounting skills and allow them to move up in their pay grade in their current jobs. We also have students in the pictures there that are showing that are working towards AST degrees and have transferred to CSU. Katie Bennett up in the upper right was one of our first graduates who is now working as a teacher after she graduated from Fresno State. All right, so the students on the bottom left are all transfers to Fresno State, except for Daisy in the middle there. She just took a job at the California Mushroom Exchange in Monterey. So she is moving into the workforce. Next slide. We're also developing our regional partnerships with the educational institutes in Madera County. One of our biggest draws is our ag programs from the different cities, such as Kerman, Madera itself, Liberty Ranchos, Chowchilla, as far as Los Banos. So what we try to do now is offer as many FFA opportunities for students to come and compete, and not only get a chance to interact with our students, but see what we have to offer at the Madera campus for students to come there. With the addition of the new building, this gives students to now realize, yes, there is a true facility here that we can come and take our classes in Madera County and continue our degree and transfer to continue our educational goals. We're lucky last year before we closed down to go ahead and host a couple of events. This event right here was the West Fresno Madera Banking and Finance Contest. We had about 150 students who came and competed that evening in that area. We see some of our students, our ambassadors from Madera, were there to pass out awards and help with dinner. Next slide. We're also working with our National Science Foundation grant that Dr. Srinivasan and I are co-PIing. And what we're trying to do here is recruit our students from the different high school levels to come to not only Madera College, but then to start thinking about what are some career opportunities in the ag industry. And with that, what are some of those different higher educational needs they will need in order to get those jobs? So we work in conjunction not only with Madera College, but also with Reedley in terms of providing opportunities for students to do tours during the summer. And then we tap into the agriculture colleges that offer degrees in the different areas we have. So in the last camp we're able to hold before the pandemic was a tour at Chico State. We're able to take a group of 15 students up to Chico for a couple of days, and they got a chance to explore Northern California agriculture, number one, and what the industry has to offer, but also Chico State and what that program has to offer for our students to transfer over to. So you can see the students got a chance to tour a goat dairy. They checked out the Smucker's facility and how to make grape juice. And then the bottom right-hand corner, we talked to some soil scientists and some of the newest and greatest things that are going on in terms of managing soil for our farming practices. So we continue to do so to recruit students not only to Madera campus, but also start looking upon what are some other things they can do with agriculture as a career. Next slide. On top of that, we then take our students who help out in the summer with that program to the National Science Foundation Advanced Technical Institute Conference in Washington, D.C., where they do some poster presentations on the project itself and what they've learned over that. Madera has been lucky in the fact that we've been able to grow our amount of students that have been able to attend. The first year we started with our first 2 students who went back to Washington, D.C. The last group we had there at the bottom, you can see we took 7 students. It's the largest group ever allowed to attend the conference that was paid for by the AT itself. So they represented the Valley very well, presenting topics on what they've learned through our ATE grant with our students there as well. Next slide. And with that, I want to introduce Ms. Brenna Kovakovic. And Ms. Kovakovic is going to tell us a little about her agricultural journey and what it means to have the Madera Ag and Center for Ag and Technology and ag courses available to her in Madera County. Go ahead, Brenda.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brenna Kovakovic. My family has lived in the San Joaquin Valley for over 100 years. My family has been rooted in deep agricultural traditions. I am majoring in agricultural and planning to pursue a career in agricultural education with a focus on special education. But my family has been involved in agriculture for centuries. My decision to enter the field was based in large part of my FFA and the role my agricultural education has played in my life. While today I work hard to maintain an A average in my class and represent my fellow students as an ASG vice president, I struggled early on with learning disabilities and a speech impediment. I've had to work twice as hard to keep up with other students. When I got into high school, I joined FFA, started taking agricultural classes. Those classes began to broaden my understanding, challenged me more than I thought I could be. I saw a difference ag teachers could make in the lives of students struggling to find a reason to make it through school. I knew I could make a difference, and that is the reason I chose my major. I've been taking most of my majority coursework at Madera Community College. I've had some classes at Reedley because they did not offer it at the location. That is one of the benefits of this district, is appealing to students. It has been exciting to see the expansion of the agricultural program at Madera Community College. The variety of classes offered were based in agricultural business, but the program has been able to add classes like integrated pest management and others to provide a broader choice. I will leave here with a sound foundation as a future agriculture educator. For students considering majors in agriculture, I would highly recommend Madera Community College agriculture program. This class's size allow for more personal experience and provide opportunities to have more one-on-one time with instructors. The connection to the community is also a huge benefit when thinking about future employment opportunities. I now pass over to Professor Harrison.
Thank you, Brenna. Appreciate that. My name is Eric Hansen. I am, let's see here. There we go. I am the maintenance and manufacturing instructor here at Madera Center. You can see that we had ribbon cutting for the new, the very first Measure C building that was built back in, I think the ribbon cutting was last January of last year, and you can see we had a number of people part of that for this brand new building. I think it was just over $6 million that was allotted for this building, and it's just been tremendous to be able to be in here and start growing a new program. So as you can see, 2 classrooms, pretty good size that we can open up into one classroom, 1 large meeting room. There are 2 shop bays. One's for the maintenance and one is for agricultural mechanics. And we do have an additional welding lab that we have, I think 12 lab booths that we just put in there. So 6 faculty offices. It's just been a really, really outstanding building so far. So we want to thank the thank the foundation, thank the people that actually voted for this this measure to keep moving on. So so in the industrial maintenance shop, we started getting some equipment in. We built the actual booths in the welding lab, and last semester we actually had our first group of students, welding students, were actually able to use these welding labs. So it's just been fantastic. We are working right now to build a industrial technology program. It's actually industrial maintenance technology program that sort of mirrors the maintenance mechanic program that we've been working with, for the last 12 years here. This one expands more into this program expands more into automation, and we really should be drawing a number of students that are interested in industrial maintenance. It should be a really, really good program. We're anticipating starting this program fall this year. So I'm excited, and we've actually been very blessed recently with a number of grants and funds that are being we're spending buying new equipment and just trying to get ready for that program to start. So on the other side of the building, in the CAM building, the Center for Advanced Manufacturing, we are still welding, offering our welding program. We have a fabrication class. That top left picture shows our part of our fabrication area, and we have a student that's working on I think that's in the fabrication class. I think he's doing some cutting there. But we actually were able to expand this last year. We expanded another 5 welding booths in here. So we're just very, very excited about being able to move through this, and move our students through it. So one of the things that I wanted to comment on is the outreach for students, for recruiting new students. It's very, very important to continue these programs to get the students to come in. Our enrollment for welding this semester and the last couple of semesters has been pretty good. For maintenance, machine shop, we're a little bit low. You know, obviously COVID's been a big deal, but we certainly need to have the outreach to the students, the high schools, you know, even in industry, for people to come back and take some courses as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Michael Lucchese, our machine shop instructor.
All right, thank you, Eric. I'm, like I said, I've been at Madera going on 5 years. I was hired off an apprenticeship grant that was written by the district. Mr. Dan Souza, who is our apprenticeship coordinator, wrote the grant, so I can't take credit for that. But I've been, since the time I've been here, I came in to the program, we had about 10 pieces of major equipment in the department. Since then, with the apprenticeship and some other funds we've received, we've managed to have about 30 pieces of equipment in our department now. We're having our next piece of equipment will be coming for the machine shop, will be our CNC super spindle machine, or VF2, that's coming through strong workforce development funds by us working with them through the pre-apprenticeship program we've established with them. So funding has really made a difference for us in the machine shop program. You can see our labs are quite modern. I spent more than 30 years in industry before I began teaching. So I have quite a bit of knowledge in this area I ended up running a plant for the last 3.5 years before I came into the teaching. When I went into the Department of Corrections and began teaching, that was an experience to say the least. But our labs, I feel, are comparable to many labs that you would find in industry. We have some of the best equipment, tooling that is out there right now. Can we go to the next slide, Eric? Yeah. So we have some certificates. When you come in, you get your basic certificate of the manufacturing one, which is just an entry level, but you can go on a welding path, a machining path, an industrial maintenance path, or you can go on 2 paths or 3 paths. We also have degree programs for associate's degrees. We are also working for more transfer to Fresno State. We are doing a workshop, which we started about 2 months ago with Fresno State and the Central Valley Mother Lode, for teacher training for high school teachers in the region to get up on manufacturing technology, the new automation, the new Industry 4.0 standards. So we are reaching out not only to welding and machine teachers and these types of teachers, but ag teachers as well. Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Hansen are both involved in this. So we've got our most of our faculty here involved in this outreach program, because this is our biggest issue, is outreach. We've got to get reach to the kids. We've got a new junior high in Madera, which teaches engineering, manufacturing engineering. And we've just got to get to the kids to get them to understand the things that are available for them. And the way to do this, we feel, is the teachers at the high schools is our best goal. Next slide, Eric. Get that clicker going, Eric. There we go. We've got some great industry partners through our apprenticeship. I've been able to meet a lot of them. Arda, P&M Machine, some of the others are Vapco. You can see the great list. So almost everybody in the region around us has been supportive of what we're doing in our programs. Our advisory committee comes in and lets us know what they would like to see. So we've done many things with the support of our industry partners. Next slide, please, Eric. Okay. And this is our latest adventure. This is our new dimensional metrology lab. We have what I consider to be a leader in this area. We're the first one in the Central Valley, the first college that I know of my research to have a true metrology lab. Of one of only 5 community colleges in California, 2 in the Bay Area, 2 in the LA area. So this puts us as an outstanding college as terms of new technology and what we're doing there. The students will have a great opportunity to not only learn machining and welding, but to learn what it is to be involved in metrology. And our equipment is brand new. Almost everything in this lab is a year or less older, except for one piece of equipment. But everything else is brand new to what we call Industry 4.0 standards. It meets all the qualifications that they're going to find out in the field. Next slide, Eric. Okay. These are some of our students that are completed a local certificate program to our maintenance technology. And you can see the transformation. Eric invited them all in and family support everything as a community. We really try to stress, that what Madera is doing. And so Mr. Hanson, Mr. Rodriguez have been a lot of help, a lot of support to what we do. And so as our dean, so with the funding that we hope to continue this great movement towards getting Madera as one of the best community colleges in the state. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for presentations. I think we have some time for some questions, if anybody. So I believe you're free to unmute yourselves if you have a question, or if you want to type something in the chat for either Dr. Buckley or Dr. Reyna regarding any one of the colleges or anything you heard here today. Any questions?
Rico, can I answer one that was sent to me electronically? It was around what Madera Community College, what our plans are for expanding CTE or workforce education. So one of the things that Professor Lucchese mentioned is strong workforce programming funds. So as we become a new institution, there's additional funding that's coming our way. And one of those pots are strong workforce program funds. So we're looking at, as we expand our facilities, you saw the Center for Ag and Technology, which is brand new, opened up a year ago. We look at Oakhurst, we're looking at Academic Village 2. One of the things we're doing specifically for Oakhurst as we prepare for that is hospitality and tourism. So we're using some of our strong workforce funding to align to the community needs, because we know that's something there. We want to set up Oakhurst and the new facility for success. So by the time it's built, we'll have that program ramped up and ready to go in alignment with the facility. The other thing that we're doing on the Madera campus is looking at viticulture, because it's in alignment with what we do. And we know we're far enough from Reedley College, because we try not to duplicate what our sister colleges are doing, but we're not competing for the same students. So we're looking at that and the wineries that we have here locally. And then we're also looking at truck driving, as anybody that's been on Highway 99 can attest to the fact that, that is a need. And we've been trying to work closely analyzing labor market data and working with our workforce development partners. So those are kind of some of the 3 areas. We're looking at others, because one of the philosophical approaches we want to take is we want to make sure that we can meet the needs of our community, and not all students are coming to us for transfer. They're coming to us because they want to get a job and go into the workforce. So we want to be as diverse as possible to meet the needs of our community and students.
Thank you, Dr. Reyna. We did have a question in the chat from Trustee Ikeda, but I believe it was answered, unless we want to add metrology. That's a new thing to me too. So Michael, thank you for answering that. Is there anything else to elaborate on it?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we're specifically doing dimensional metrology, which is precision measurements. To keep them, we can measure down to more than 1/10,000th of an inch, and realize human hair is about 3/1000ths of an inch. So we're talking about, 10 times thinner than a human hair. And with our lab equipment and what we do, this is one of the greatest things we can do nowadays is teach our students how to be very precise in their measurements for the trades and the industry they're going in manufacturing. Big requirement.
Rico, can I ask a follow-up question to Professor Lucchese?
Mm-hmm.
So Michael, what occupations can a student go into once they complete the metrology lab coursework?
It can be an inspector, a quality control technician, quality assurance supervisor, typically in any type of trade that requires precise and precision measurements. It can be any production trade that requires you to be able to understand what quality control means, what quality assurance means. Goes all the way back to when Deming first went to Japan and introduced the concept of quality control. So we have a huge history for this type of structure, this type of training.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Dr. Reyna, I was curious, you just said something about truck driving. We're starting a truck driving program in Madera. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we're with the new strong workforce funding coming our way, that's part of it. We look to explore, look at the curriculum to build that. So we're in process of exploring that option. Yes.
Okay, so I did get an endowment from the Central California Trucking Association. And so I'm thrilled to hear that they can actually use it in Madera instead of, I don't even know who else has the trucking, I guess Reedley maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's exciting to me since that was one of the ones that I brought in that there's a chance that Madera students would also be able to benefit from that endowment.
Reedley College has the heavy truck program. We fixed them, they can drive them.
Great question. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. And if you come up with a question later on and it pops in your head in the middle of the night, feel free to shoot them my way, or and so we can send them out to either the presidents or even for Dr. Parnell, who had to leave to another meeting, but he did mention if there's any questions for him, he's available to answer those questions. I think as Chancellor Circle member, that's one of the benefits of having the access to be able to know what's going on within the campuses and how we're supporting our students. And there's a lot of questions that may come up, and we are glad to answer those. Well, so that concludes our first virtual campus visit. I really appreciate you all being here. And, I think a lot of the conversation today, some things that popped up, and what I miss, we saw some photos of groups of people together in large gatherings. I think that's something that I truly miss, and seeing, all of you, the student speakers. Thank you, Brenna, so much for your points. I think it's a great advertisement to other students of the benefits of at Madera and at all of our colleges. And so we appreciate your story, because I think that's what drives myself and my colleagues in the foundation, as well as the foundation board members. Because I think when we hear from students, we truly know where the impact is. And so your story was wonderful. And so good luck in your future career. I think your career is bright. So I continue to, we'll be praying for you to do well. And so I also want to thank our board of trustees who are here today. Thank you so much for your time to kind of hear what's going on at the colleges, and appreciate you being here. And I'd also like to thank our foundation board members who are here representing the foundation, because like I said, I think this helps us to be able to communicate out to the general public and future supporters of our foundation, of how we, what the programs are, and the impact they'll have on our students. So we really appreciate you being here for that. I want to thank Dr. Parnell, who left, had to get to another meeting, but thank him for his leadership and for compassion for our students, because I think that's one thing we always see. It's student-centered from him, and we look forward to working with him for the next few months left, and we definitely want to thank him for being a part of this. And then thank you all, Chancellor Circle members, for being here. This was, our way of connecting with you. And hopefully, next year we'll get back to some sense of meeting. But right now we're looking at doing these virtual events. The next one will be in April. As I mentioned, April 22nd. It'll be with Fresno City College and Clovis Community College, so similar to this event. And so hopefully you enjoyed this event and you'll return back for that. You'll be getting emails about that. And so I just want to thank all of our presenters and my staff for helping to coordinate this. Thank you to Phil Howard for running it behind the scenes. That is a big help for us. So with that, I wish you all a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Bye, Rico.